Okay, today is the last day before we take the test tomorrow, and the test is on chapter 12, and it is on circle trig. What did I say was the number one mistake in circle trig? Forgetting negatives. So let's start with one of those. Let's say that I wanted to find something coterminal to 5 pi over 6. Well, there's something negative that would get you to that same spot. So first just find 5 pi over 6, then find something that's coterminal with it, but negative. Pause while you give that one a try. All right, so here's where you should have gone. 5 pi over 6, just right off the bat, is based on a bunch of 1 pi over 6s, which are 30s, and it's 5 of them. So then you get not all the way, but close to this spot. So that would be 30. So 5 pi over 6 is in this spot, and it's to there. But that wasn't the question. The question was, how do you get there but negative? Well, then I go around the horn this way, and that's even more pi over 6s if you're going to go that way. It would be negative 7 pi over 6. Raise your hand if you knew that. Okay, good. That's one of the ways that negatives can come in. Here's another way that negatives can come in. Sine of some angle is negative a half. Now, sine is negative only in certain places, and we have a little mnemonic. All students take calc. I encourage you to draw this triangle in the right place or places to find this answer. And again, this involves a lot of negative stuff. I'm going to pause for a moment and we give that a try. All right, so first thought, sine's negative. So all students take calc. Can't be here, can't be here. And sine is negative in here. And I'll do the other one later, but I won't have to do it as intently. This one is 30 degrees, which then, the reason I know that is because I shouldn't start with that. You wouldn't know that if you were not very good at this. You would say, okay, I know opposite and hypotenuse. And the opposite's negative 1, and the hypotenuse is 2. And then this must be square root 3. And then hopefully you'd have the realization, this is the 30, 60, 90. And this is 30, and this is 60. And therefore my answer is 30. One of the most common mistakes. That's not where 30 is. All right? So, is there any other, actually it won't matter to us right now, but is there any other little small thing I'm missing? Yes? The negative. Good. Okay. Now, because I'm not answering like some answer that's about sides, I'm answering about an angle. It really wouldn't have been okay to oops that one. But if I had been asked for like what is cosine of this angle, I would have needed this side, and that negative would have bit me. All right. So now I got to say that it's not 30. It's a whole bunch of 30s. So 7 pi over 6 is one of your answers. And then here's what I meant about the other one is over here, but I don't need to draw all of that stuff. I just need to know this is 30, also known as a pi over 6. And so it's a bunch more pi over 6s to get there. And all the way around would be 12 pi over 6s, but then I back off 1. That makes it 11 pi over 6. Those are my two answers. Raise your hand if you agree with that. Okay, good. All right, so that's another case where negatives are a big deal. Yes, ma'am? Okay, good question. The question on the test will say, give all the answers between 0 and 2 pi. Do you get that that puts you in a limit and only positive things? Now, if it doesn't say that, technically you could give a gajillion answers because remember, it goes forever, right? So you could actually give answers that are bigger than 11 pi over 6 or negative answers or all kinds of answers because there's all kinds of answers for this. The reason there's all kinds of answers for this is because really it's about where is sine negative, and here's what the graph of sine looks like. And sine is negative, what is that? Negative a half here, and it's here, and it's there, and it's there. And the only two I gave were this one and this one. And that's because even though it goes forever, if you draw a line through this, it could get, oops, I missed. You could get a gajillion answers as you go forever in both directions. But we limit it to between 0 and 2 pi. Okay, so that's probably one of the toughest concepts that you have to know for the test. All right, now other stuff that we've learned. Can you name anything else that we've learned since the beginning? Yes? All right, then that's cosecant and secant and that kind of stuff. Excellent. So let's do this one. sine of, oh, let's see, 7 pi over 4, I hope you can find that spot, would equal something. Cosine at that same spot would equal something, and tangent at that same spot would equal something. All you're going to need is one triangle. They're all going to be coming out of that same triangle. If you know where 7 pi over 4 is, you probably know where to put the triangle. But then I taught you 3 new functions, the flippin' sisters. And they are, I hope you have this memorized, S goes with a C, and C goes with an S. And tangent goes with cotangent. I'll just say that one. Okay, hopefully you can remember which one is which, and fill in the rest of this little chart. And that'll prove that you understand the 6 functions. I'm going to pause while you give that a try. All right, let's see if you did this one right. You should have said 7 pi over 4 was, let's see, well, where's 1 pi over 4? That's 1 pi over 4. So 4 pi over 4 is here. 5, 6, 7 pi over 4 is right there. So I'll get rid of the other ones. That is where you should have been. Raise your hand if you were in the right spot. Okay, good. Now, what is that? Well, that one, to me, I'm thinking pi over 4s are 45, so this is a 45. 45, 90, 1, 1, root 2. Most common mistake, negatives. So, what? Okay, I put a 44, but I said 45. That's weird. Okay, and then this one's negative. I'll blow it up a little bit bigger. Negative 1 right there. Okay, so now sine is opposite of hypotenuse. Opposite is negative 1 over root 2. So, what is that other function? Cosecant, CSC. And cosecant would be the flip of that. So root 2 over negative 1. And it doesn't really matter where the negative is. No, it really doesn't. You could have the negative in the middle. You could have the negative on the top. It's just some people are a little bit testy about having the negative right there because that's where the hypotenuse side is, right? And the hypotenuses aren't supposed to be negatives. I would not mark that wrong if you had the negative there, but I get why some people are a little bit careful with where to put the negative. All right, anyway, cosine of this is adjacent over hypotenuse, 1 over root 2. And then you flip it, root 2 over 1, also known as just root 2. And the last one is tangent, opposite over adjacent, which is negative 1 over 1, negative 1. And then you flip it, and negative 1 over 1 or 1 over negative 1 are the same thing. Raise your hand if you had those right. Okay, good. Then you basically understand what we did yesterday. Now, that's like a big, like, okay, this is secant, by the way. A big picture question. What if I just said one thing? Find the cotangent of 3 pi over 2. That'll prove whether you really know what cotangent is. Okay? So would you please find cotangent of 3 pi over 2? And again, I encourage you to peacefully protest and say, I'm not going to do cotangent. I'm going to do something else. And then I'll get the answer by flipping. There was a hand for a moment and then it disappeared. Does the person still have a question? If you do, I can try to answer it. Yes? I'm going to pause for a second. Okay. 3 pi over 2 is down here. Good luck making a triangle down there, because you can't, unless you're going to try to do it with sides that are 0, which is an unusual way to do it. I actually tried doing that once. Tried teaching it that way, but I felt like it didn't go over so well. So this is the easiest way to me. Sines y, cosines x, and tangent is y over x. But I didn't give you any of those. What did I give you? Cotangent. So I would say I'm not doing cotangent. I'm going to do what? Tangent of 3 pi over 2. Now some people will flip that by accident. That is wrong. We don't flip the angle. We flip as the answer. Stuff after the equal sign. That stuff gets flipped. All right, so first of all, let's find tangent of this. Well, this spot is at 0, negative 1. So tangent is negative 1 over 0. What does that mean? Undefined. Now, if you flip that, interesting. Yes. Now, I know some of you are going to say, it's undefined, you can't flip undefined. Well, you can flip this, though, and it'll be 0 over -1, and that is 0. All right. Okay, let's move on. So here is one last prep for your little in-class quiz we are about to take. And this is just for practice in class today. You are going to grade it and get a score so that you know where you're at. But if I were to ask you for a wedge of a circle, what's that officially called? A sector. And I could ask you about 2 things of it. Can you write down the 2 equations that could be used? Write down the 2 equations that involve a sector of a circle. There, the sector and the length of the what? The length of the arc. Very good. All right, so say we had some theta here, and this is some r for the radius, right? Okay, so then s equals theta r. It should have been one of your equations. Raise your hand if you had that one right. And what do we know about theta that's special? Has to be radians, okay. And then the other one is how many degrees out of 360 times pi r squared. So it's degrees, so I'm going to put theta out of 360. But what if theta was in radians? It'd be theta out of 2 pi. All right, good. Okay, so now we're going to take a little practice quiz. I'm going to pause the video while we take this practice quiz.